Krishna Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gaurvadi Pracharane Nirvisheshanyavadi Paschat Deshatarane Panchakalpatarubhascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Pradhan Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. Today we have a special guest with us, Rajeev Shrivastava, aka Radha Giridhari Prabhu. And the subject is very interesting. Just like Lord Narayan is always with Lakshmi Devi, we cannot separate. Therefore, the and spirituality are interconnected. In the Bhagavad Gita's conclusion, Sanjay, the disciple of Vyasadeva, after hearing, he was the recipient of special message given by Sri Krishna to Arjuna. And what is the conclusion of Sanjay? The Sanjay's conclusion is, wherever there is Krishna, yatra yogeshwaro Krishna, yatra partha dhanurdhara, tatra Sri Vijay dhruva nitir matir mama. So Sanjaya is giving his conclusion. His conclusion is that wherever there is Krishna Yogeshwar and wherever there is Arjuna Dhanurdhar, one represents our inner devotion, right? Our consciousness which is dedicated to Sri Krishna. And Arjuna being that the representation of that devotee, that great warrior, being part of this world, Dhanurdhar, there is an action. So when they are together, when a living entity is connected to the Supreme, what does it create? It creates, and he says, my conclusion, certainly, first there is a prosperity, right? Like we see in the Shastras, without the position of power, one cannot contribute tangibly. Good wishes are good, but good heart along with the resources gives rise to transformation in the society. So therefore Sanjay says, prosperity, it gives rise to prosperity. It gives rise to morality, ethics. It gives rise to stability. So imagine Sanjay, the great devotee of Vyasadeva, who is speaking Bhagavad Gita, has a perfect conclusion of integrating between the stability in this world and stability in the inner world. And therefore Arjuna is truly called as Rajarshi. Pandavas are truly called as Rajarshi. Raja means where there is an action for the external growth. Rishi is therefore creating an inner reality of spiritual stability. So therefore today we have with us Radha Giridhari Prabhu. You know, we have observed since, at least I have seen him since 1988. There is no change in his disposition, in his attitude. Certainly has grown in many fields, building wealth and sharing his wealth, at the same time deepening his spiritual connection, devotional connection, service to his guru, to the society of ISKCON. So therefore there is a genuineness in regards to not only thinking that I want to share, but acting to share. So therefore, there is no better person to understand how to generate wealth and what to do with that wealth. I begin with this question. Thank you, Radha Giridhari Prabhu, for joining with us. So the first question is, you have been ambitious, and being ambitious without slipping into the greed, what principle kept you balanced in regards to managing this for so many years. Can you share with us?
Thank you, Prabhu, for allowing me to, share whatever I have learned from Maharaj and all of you. So I will just share, this question about being ambitious and, you know, not going down the slippery slope of greed. I remember in 1989, His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj and Keshav Prabhu, who's now the managing director at Apar Industries, in '89 had just passed out of University of Pennsylvania. So Maharaj was kindly driving him from from Philadelphia to New Vrindavan. And Keshav Prabhu, rightfully, as he's going to now step into the business world, inheriting a family business, asked Maharaj, "What do I need to do to become successful in business?" Maharaj actually, in his humility, first replied that, "What can I tell you about success in business? I don't know much about business. I don't even have a bank account." And Maharaj then became quiet, and I think Keshav Prabhu realized that maybe Maharaj is not going to answer this question. But 2 hours later, Maharaj spoke something very profound, and that is something that I try to keep at the core of whatever I'm doing. Maharaj told Keshav Prabhu that if you want to be successful in business, control your greed and control your pride. And these statements, while they are very simple, it become the foundation of what I wanted to do. So when I wanted to do, business, then why am I doing business? Am I doing business so that I can just, you know, be consumed by greed? Am I doing it just to accumulate more wealth? Am I doing business so that I'm going to say that, look, now I run a large business, or I run a large fund, so on and so forth? And is it only for your pride? So if we are, if we at any stage start to think that we are the doers, if at any stage we start to think that I'm doing it just to, accumulate more and more for myself, then yes, what you call that, then, I'm going down the slope of greed. And very soon, it is not just a slippery slope, it is a slope where you lose your consciousness. So when you are doing the same thing and the why is important, and if the why becomes the core of, what you are doing, then you can, Krishna may empower you to do well, and therefore, you can ambitiously grow your business, but you're doing it so that you can serve more. And that is what the statement of Maharaj, is very prophetic. And I see it in the business world. It's very much needed. And at least it keeps me, from going down, from, being consumed by greed while doing business.
Thank you, Rajeev ji. So it is learning something in 1989 and implementing in day-to-day life is not very easy. In the Mahabharata, when Draupadi knew that she's going to lose all her children, she might lose. The indication was there. But still she chose to dedicate herself, offering her children to the cause of establishing dharma. After losing all her children, she realized knowing the knowledge and experiencing the knowledge is quite different from each other. We see many times in this world, young people, aspiring business people, those who have good intention, they always say that if I had all the money, I could do so much of charity. This is the irony of the world. Those who have, seldomly they share their wealth with others. And those who don't have and have a good intention, they want to share. But as they start accumulating money, they realize giving is not easy. Because when you have more, the wealth what you have to share with others is not a small amount, it's a big money. So therefore, wealth often makes people less generous. Yet you have given for higher cause. How do you nurture the spirit of giving when you have it? Because whatever we have seen, whatever we see in this world, givers are always less, takers are more in the number. So you stand like Krishna says in the Gita, Manushyanam Sahasreshu. Can you please share with our devotee and others?
So I'll just tell you, Prabhu, as I shared before, what I found very helpful is when you start the business journey, you start the business journey, and I see a lot of parallels with, how other spiritual teachers like our own Srila Prabhupada, when he started his journey to the West, before that, he took blessings, and and at every step, whenever he would see any amount of success come his way, he always would attribute the success to his Guru Maharaj, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami, and he would always, feel that it is his Guru Maharaj's blessings that have enabled him to succeed. So similarly, I can tell you in my case, uh, also the business journey started with, the why, which I had two, both Radhanath Maharaj and Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj. They actually, gave their blessings if they saw that I am doing it to do both, to serve the family and to serve, in my case, Srila Prabhupada's mission, and it could be any other form of giving to somebody else. So when you are starting the journey and defining that, how your journey will be, how it is not motivated by greed or pride, then it is easier. And what I've also just seen, that our Vedic wisdom, when they tell, when they basically try to, suggest to all of us that include both, and you see at a macro level and you see at multiple levels, that when somebody is trying to do, trying to do the same activity, which is business, but for not just the family but for also giving, then he or she outdoes himself. And while you are thinking I'm generous, I personally think that me and my family are receiving a lot more than what our ability is and what we, kind of deserve. So it is not, so some people think I'm giving. I just think that me and my family have been receiving more, because the Lord empowers you beyond your ability. Whether you see it in the Mahabharata, nobody could give Arjun any chance of defeating Dronacharya and Bhishma, but the Lord empowered him because he was doing it as a service to the Lord, not because he just wanted to win a big kingdom, so on, and take a lot of things for themselves. So we have seen this repeatedly, that when you bring, the wisdom of our rishis, which is to bring seva bhav in anything you do, whether you are a professional, whether you are in business, or you are in any other field. If the why is I'm doing it to serve others, and at every step, you try to internalize the why at every opportunity you have within the company, in your interaction with employees or customers, make that why always a part of you, that you're doing it to serve your Guru Maharaj, to serve society. Then the Lord can empower you. And I have yet to see a single person who brings this consciousness and has not outgrown himself or herself by their ability.
It's very interesting. Radha Giridhar has very clear understanding of his journey from being just an engineer. I remember going around in the different institution, inviting students to come to programs, and becoming an entrepreneur. Developing his resources, sharing his resources with others, and it has been very consistent. I remember meeting his father regularly, being an army doctor, I think he also brought that consciousness of sharing with others, right? So that culture, that sanskara, along with Prabhupada's teaching, has kept him very strong in this idea. Like I remember reading somewhere that when you minimize your own self, you don't become less for yourself, you become infinite. One of the soldiers of Shivaji Maharaj told him that, my dear Raja, in Marathi he said, आपण स्वतःला मोजायचं बंद केलंय, की I've stopped counting myself. So when you stop counting yourself, you become infinite. And he made that point very strongly, that those who have this value system and they implement, they do not become poverty stricken. Because unless the capacity is there, one cannot share with others. And those who have the capacity, sometimes they stay back in sharing, but he has proven the other principle. And therefore, the next question is, when people come to the path of spirituality, today only Chaitanya Charan Prabhu raised this question. We were discussing that there is a great confusion amongst the practitioner of spirituality. When you practice spirituality, you become less ambitious. You feel that I don't need so much, I need less. What is the point of making so much of money? And many times those practicing people become less involved in growing in their prosperity. But at some point of time, they start regretting, oh, I should have done this much, I should have done that, I should have worked on this. So therefore, many spiritual seekers lose their drive and later regret. How can one keep the fire of ambition alive while staying grounded into their spiritual activity? How did you manage? Because you have not retired, you're still working, you're bringing businesses for your company, expanding it. At the same time, you're also, dedicated to your spiritual activities. How do you manage that, and how you did not become less ambitious as you are growing in your business?
So, what I can just share is that, in fact, in one sense, a little humorous note that whenever, early on in the business, we thought we were able to do some service for Maharaj. And of late, when we sell a company and we are able to do some, generate some Lakshmi for Maharaj's projects, the finance committee presents to Maharaj that, here is a Lakshmi, what we can do. And Maharaj comes back with a list of projects. And earlier, we used to be like maybe 2 crores too short. Now we are 2 million too short. So always we are finding that whatever we are able to do, Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's mission, there is so much more to be done. And that's where that's what, in one sense, I keep thinking, as I also see other devotees. So, like, I met a devotee in Chennai, and he was also very happy to do very little. And what has actually got us going, or keeps me going, as well as now many more youngsters are also. I'm very happy to see that even they are, you know, they are okay to think in this way, which is that if somebody has ability, see, what we would like is that we want a lot of people who are coming to our temple. Maharaj does not want any of us to ask people for donations. And I used to keep thinking as a student that, how can we follow Maharaj's mood where we don't have to ask anybody, who's coming to our temple. We want to present Krishna consciousness to them. We don't want them, we don't want to ask them for any Lakshmi. So how is that possible to both run a temple, expand the temple without having to ask people? So in my heart, I started thinking that if devotee entrepreneurs can show the rest of the world also that, you know, that they would like to do well and do well for their family and also to serve, Srila Prabhupada's mission or some other project, then, that to me has been a greater driver to at least ensure that you do your sadhana. I'm not trying to say you do the other extreme of making work 24 by 7. So in the in the regular 40 hours, 50 hours max a week that you allocate to work, try to do your best, but not at the cost. I mean, our prayer should be that Krishna knows what is good for us. So while we are ambitious or while we want to do well, we pray to Krishna that, look, if by growth I succumb to greed, I succumb to pride, then let me not have that growth. But if I can grow so that I can serve my family and Srila Prabhupada's mission and my Guru Maharaj's projects, then I want to do well. You know, so so this balance, every time what I find helping me is just like in all of us do a health checkup once a year. At least those who are above 40 try to do that once a year. Similarly, I find doing a spiritual health checkup by meeting the sadhus, by meeting Maharaj, uh, and then somehow or the other Maharaj will speak something which is very relevant to your position, because he can see your consciousness. The consciousness is as important as what you can achieve. We don't want achievement at the cost of loss of Krishna consciousness. And only if we can keep thinking at every step that whatever success Krishna has allowed me to have is by the blessings of the sadhus, is by the blessings of Guru Maharaj, and not that I'm brilliant or I'm something great, but it is the blessings of the sadhus that have empowered me to do service.
So that's a very interesting principle, because as I said, again, I'll repeat that to harmonize between the spirit of dedication to spirituality when they are very young, at the same time not compromising with their professional growth, their educational growth, is very challenging for many people. But you have managed it very nicely. So therefore the next question is, because to find such people who are able to manage, they raise their wealth, they raise their power in the society for the right reason, because the Mahabharata explains that dharma is not in the abstract place. You cannot find dharma in a space. Dharma has to have a reference point. When Draupadi asked this question to Krishna, he said, "Where is dharma?" That is the time when she was about to be disrobed. And she ran to Bhishma. She asked this question to Bhishma. And Bhishma, very interestingly, he spoke to Draupadi, tears in his eyes. He said, "My dear Draupadi, what can I say?" He said, "Dharma will be defined by those who have the power." And today the power is Duryodhan, Dushasan, Shakuni and Karna, and they are defining what is dharma. Right? So therefore we have the choice. Certainly we are inspired by the story of Koleveche Sridhar, but to emulate his activities in day-to-day life is not easy, because people are part of the Grahastha community. Even Sudama Brahman was sent by his family to ask something from Krishna, if not for himself, but for his family. And still he was not able to ask, because he was so deeply spiritual. But Krishna, being very practical and realistic, he gave resources to Sudama without compromising his devotional activity. Therefore, Radha Giridhari Prabhu, many times he has empowered many people to do exactly what he is doing. So my next question is, in the Bhagavad Gita 3rd chapter, Krishna speaks to Arjuna about Swadharma and Loka Sangraha. Swadharma is about my self-growth, and Loka Sangraha is actually empowering those surrounding us. So what is the strategy? What is your idea in regards to empowering people? How is the empowering creates? How do you empower others to grow, create and contribute? can you please share so that they can also learn from you? If uh, online also, and if there is a facility where we can conduct a small group session when you come to Bombay, so that they can interact with you.
Sure, Prabhu. Uh, First thing is, as I am now, I'm 62 years old. For me, I'm also seeking a path where if the other youngsters, and I see a lot of promise in many of them, as they start to do well, and Srila Prabhupada's movement gets stronger and stronger with the fruits of their labor, then I feel that I do need at a certain age to slow down, and I feel more responsible slowing down when I can see that others can do much better than what I could do. And that joy of seeing other devotees who are, I'm not from a top business school or from engineering school, but if Maharaj's blessings of the sadhus could empower me to do something, I believe that there are so many youngsters, there are so many wonderful people all over the world, and if if I can just share with them that start thinking, like in my case, this also the thinking starts with why you want to do something, and then say that pray to Krishna for the ability, but don't be attached to the results. So have complete comfort and faith that Krishna knows what's good for you. So it is not that this is something we try to do. So so when we share with the youngsters, we also make sure that we provide an ecosystem and we start. And I'll give an example of one wonderful young devotee who did his PhD at MIT in Boston, and he was very honest to say that after he did his PhD in MIT, he couldn't get a job. So he and his friend both couldn't get a job. So they started a small business. And when the business wasn't doing well for 2 to 3 years, the government of Singapore gave them a grant. So it again gave them a lease of life. So he came to Singapore where I got to meet him. And he attended Artha Forum lectures because we are trying to tell the youngsters that it is not wrong to be ambitious if you can do it for service. It just like Arjuna, it is not he's ambitious to win, but to win only so that dharma will prevail, so that Yudhishthir will be the king, and the adharmic forces will be defeated. So similarly, Parmanand Prabhu, when he attended Artha Forum lectures of Bhakti Charu Maharaj, of Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, and Radhanath Maharaj, then he in a deep way felt inspired. This is a young person at ISKCON who used to make maybe $1,500 a month studying. Now, when the same person, when he wrote down on a sheet of paper and presented it to his Guru Maharaj, that is His Holiness Romapad Maharaj, that I'm doing this business and I want to do well for my family and Srila Prabhupada's mission in a tangible way, and offered that statement to his Guru Maharaj and to the deities, Krishna empowered him. Where this was in 2018 when he came to Singapore. In 2021, his company was valued at 400 million. In 2022 December, it was valued at 1 billion. And this devotee is as simple as he was before. There is no change in him. And Krishna has empowered him so nicely uh, to do well. He sold some shares. He did not hesitate for a second in offering half of the wealth that he generated uh, to seva. And I can see that there are many more younger devotees who Srila Prabhupada's teachings can inspire them. For some reason, at ISKCON, we've not had topics like money and Mahabharata, like the book that you gave. I wish there was you can write more on the same topic, because yes, I have the same here, right here. Oops, I don't know if you can see it, but I don't know what's the camera. Anyway, so essentially, many of these youngsters, they feel that, oh, I should do the minimum. I should not study so hard, or I should not. But when the same, devotees, if we start telling them that how, if you have abilities, please use it, but don't think of yourself as the doer. Don't think that you are doing any more important service than somebody else who's, who's either making garlands in the temple, or who's doing, any other service. Everybody is doing the service to please the Lord, and you should just consider this as one other service, and not, let pride or greed or think that your service is any better than somebody else's service. So if we are doing it in that mode, then many of the younger people, I see tremendous amount of talent. We see a 21-year-old girl, daughter of Naveen Prabhu, who is, who also started with the same feeling that she wants to do service, and Krishna has empowered her. His younger brother, her younger brother, who was only 16 years old, yeah, both of these people are on path to creating significant wealth for their family and for Srila Prabhupada's mission. So my I don't have the purity to ask anybody for even $1 donation, but I feel that I don't hesitate in, because I feel that what I'm doing is, what Maharaj did, shared, or his instructions for me, if I can share that with others, I'm actually doing them greater good, because there is no point in success at the cost of your consciousness. And therefore, when they think in this way of seva in what they are doing, I feel many youngsters who are talented, and Krishna is choosing to empower them in extremely wonderful ways, and they are happy, a better asset for their family, and they're not, getting lost in the bad world of business.
Thank you, Rajeev. And as I said, whenever you come to Mumbai, we can organize young people and those who are young at heart, those who have the skill, mindset, and disposition to make big in the world, like Dhananjaya, Arjuna, and also contribute. So the next question is, beyond success and numbers, what legacy do you want to leave behind? I remember, as you mentioned about that, you are 62-year-old, you're looking for the legacy. In every field we see, whether it is a material company, whether it is spiritual community, whether it is a family, one of the greatest satisfaction of the matured people, their satisfaction comes not only from they being satisfied, the satisfaction comes from those people who are taking the legacy forward. I remember talking to many families where their children are not capable, even though they have a lot of wealth, that gives rise to anxiety. What will happen with this wealth? Because the next person is going to handle, if he is not capable to handle this. When Bhishma Dev, for that matter, when he was departing from this world, that we can call as a retirement, when he saw the Pandavas, he was so happy. In fact, it is explained that he was satisfied that the legacy will be taken over by the Pandavas. So he doesn't have to wait to protect Hastinapur. And he was grateful that Krishna had come to him. And he had some regrets that I did not treat Draupadi properly. So these three consciousness helped him to move forward. So what lessons you have learned and you want to share with others in regards to legacy beyond success and numbers? What legacy do you want to leave behind, showing that path, satisfied, and seeing the growth of others, your family and your community members?
So actually, you know, I remember Sham Sundar Prabhu, who's Srila Prabhupada's, disciple. He had a very strong desire to present, Srila Prabhupada's teachings to the leadership community. And, he of course brought George Harrison to the movement, and, to be connected with Srila Prabhupada. And, just echoing his desire, what we have tried to do through this forum, which we call Artha Forum, that we want to present Srila Prabhupada's teachings to the business community at large, simply because, today, just like in the past, you would have kings. Today, the business community, because you have such huge businesses, they are kind of like the kings of the past. And without Srila Prabhupada's teachings, they are responsible single handedly for every problem in the world, whether it's ultra poverty, inequality, climate change, destroying the planet in every way. Because, as it was said, the the Lord has given this planet. There is enough in this world for everyone's need, but not enough for one person's greed. So essentially, what we want to try to do is to have present these teachings to save the world, in the sense that in World Economic Forum, they are completely confounded with what is the model. India has the spiritual wisdom, and if both India first chooses to follow and bring the principles of dharma, especially in business. How was capitalism in, how can you bring what we can call dharmic capitalism? So we want to create a knowledge base, we want to share. And I can tell you that many people, they just haven't thought of it. These teachings may be very simple, just like when you meet a family. I just met a family in Boston a few days back that Sridhama Prabhu had me meet. And very humbly, we could suggest a plan for them, and that excited them. That, look, your father has done so much for charity. He's built 7 temples in Jaipur and done well in business, so on and so forth. And the father is happy when we are suggesting to the child that, what however much giving your father has been able to do, can you do the same or more? you know and then there is a drive within the next gen to say yes. And that's what they like to emulate. Whereas if they see that the father has only taken, okay, and has not really tried to do anything, then his behavior with the children becomes the same. And the legacy that he's trying to build absolutely fails. It is not going to continue, because the children are not inspired at all. And whereas if we just look, if we try to apply the principles of the Guru Parampara, even here, for families, for businesses, for the youngsters particularly, what excites them, what gives them joy, is when they see that what their parents have done. I mean, for me, I could see my own parents with whatever little they had. They, in fact, I knew only later that my father, although he's a medical doctor, and I would try to say that came out of one of the best schools in medicine. Through his whole life, he had just 2 shirts and 2 pants, literally. That's all he lived with. He would try to do as much for us and his other family. So this giving culture is what inspired me. And essentially what we want to tell people is that, look, when you try not to do this, you have 2 choices. One is to try to follow dharma. You will then actually create some legacy. If you choose not to, then please understand, as I attended a course at Harvard which said that most families suffer from third generation curse. First family creates wealth, the second family starts doesn't have purpose, so starts to spend it. The third is totally ruined. Whereas if you see, 88% of the families suffer from this, and the 12% where Lakshmi ji has stayed for multiple generations, there has been a deep concept of giving. And that has to start at childhood. Just like Arvind Dadaji or Arvind Mafatlal, he would personally go to Chitrakoot and not just give money. He genuinely had the love and concern for helping the patients, for doing seva, menial service there. And the children, whether it is Keshav Prabhu when he, their grandchild, or his own children, that legacy continues because there is giving at the core of such families. Likewise, we've seen family in Turkey, we've seen families in Lebanon in the case studies which were presented at Harvard, that when giving is part of your DNA, then Lakshmi ji may choose to stay for 5, 6, 7 generations. Otherwise, there's an 88% chance you are going to lose it all in the third generation, and you have spoiled the next generation because you don't have that culture of giving.
The very, very profound concept he presented even from the modern perspective. He was attending a course, while doing his business and his spirituality. He also did a course in Harvard with 40 other business people in regards to learning about giving to others. And that was the part he was sharing, that how 88% of the families lose their wealth in third generation itself. So therefore, if you study the history of Bharat, whether it is from the Ramayana perspective, Mahabharata perspective, even up to the 17th, 18th century, sometime people say that India is a land of spirituality. People did not come for wealth. No, they also came for wealth and also for spirituality, because there was a harmony between dharma and artha. And that harmony between dharma and artha was caused by the very aristocratic, pious people. It is very interesting in the Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna speaks about those who do not complete their spiritual perfection, they come back to the aristocratic family where they had that piety. Like he gave the example of many business people sharing, growing, and sharing their wealth. In this way, there is a swartha, which is dharma centric, and there is a niswartha, which is also dharma centric. And therefore, when you study, the especially three communities, the Marwadi, Gujaratis, and the Sindhi community, and many more also, they were always managing this principle of earning and sharing, earning and sharing, earning and sharing. Therefore, generation after generation, they were able to produce wealth and share. So thank you for sharing that. The last question, and then we'll open up the floor to others to ask question. When we take up to something, especially today's generation plays very safe, right? They don't want to do more than what they think they can handle. And handling is always less than actually what capacity they have. Because unless there is a pain, there is no gain. Adventure is the one thing which gives rise to growing. And therefore, Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita explains to Arjuna, very interesting, I am the ability in man. I am the strength of the strong. I am the intelligence of the intelligent. So Krishna here, very interestingly, is explaining that capacity is not synonymous to Maya. He says capacity is synonymous to my representation. So while performing your duty as a businessman, you must have gone through a lot of challenges, failures. But rather than being discouraged, how is that you continue to strive and grow in regards to building your business and again sharing with the society? So can you please share that with us?
So, many years back, when I'm talking about a period when we were not part of ISKCON for some time, and then when we were coming back, I remember one lecture where some of us were a little hesitant. Now, of course, we are so much integrated and part of ISKCON, where Maharaj told us that what is the most important teaching. Srila Prabhupada basically said that the most important thing, if all of you, if any of you who are part of the movement or even outside the movement, if you just chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 regulative principles, read Srila Prabhupada's books, and eat Krishna Prasad. If you're just following these principles, then, you know, Prabhupada said, I will personally come and take you back home, back to Godhead. And this statement of Maharaj said that, look, when we are going to become, and this, helped me a lot in my downtime in business, where I go through, difficult situations. I just remember this statement of Maharaj that, look, is this situation preventing me from chanting 16 rounds, from following the four regulative principles, from reading Srila Prabhupada's books? No, then why should I let that situation, affect me? So many a times when we see, difficulties, failures, dealing with crooks all the time, then, you know, uh, we just try to turn. Like, if we are coming to Krishna consciousness for politics, you will find politics. If you're coming to Krishna consciousness for gossip, you will find other people who are gossiping. But if you are coming to Krishna consciousness for the most important thing that Srila Prabhupada, wants you to do, then in all situations, as long as you can chant your 16 rounds, as long as you can, follow the four regulative principles, then why should these, situations affect you? So that was, a big saving grace when these difficulties would come. And, when we are constantly thinking we are doing it as a service, so, if Krishna wants this to end, so be it. I remember when Krishna Chandra Prabhu business, and I saw his own, example, when there was another very large business house. I don't want to name them. They were about to take over Krishna Chandra Prabhu's business. And, everyone would have thought, look, you build this business for so many generations, and now the whole business may be taken away from you. So, but there, Krishna Chandra Prabhu is always thinking, look, at every situation we can serve. If Krishna wants to take the business away, I can still serve Maharaj in some way. So essentially, by seeing these wonderful devotees like Krishna Chandra Prabhu react in a certain way when you feel the business is taken away from you or can be taken away from you, it gave me strength. But I will also tell you that it was not easy. The most difficult thing for me was when Maharaj told me, sell the business. And, one fine day I have 2,000 people with 10, 11 offices all over the world. And next day when I sell it, I don't have any office, I don't have anything. So it was a difficult, instruction to follow. But I could see that, Maharaj was doing it just for my own consciousness. Because sometimes you get too engrossed in the business. I also started, getting, even with good intentions, I can, lose my consciousness. I can get too engrossed, which happened to me. I was neglecting family. I was being, too ambitious. And then, fortunately, because you do your annual checkup, Krishna through Maharaj literally told me to sell the business. That time it was tough, but in hindsight, it proved to be a much better, decision for me, for my family, and for my Krishna consciousness.
And you continue to remain a businessman. It was in 2003, right? That's what you
Yes,
mentioned.
and
Yeah.
actually, I was not that advanced, so I did tell Maharaj, okay, I'm not doing this again in my frustration. And I had not met Sridhar Swami from 1985, 86. And in 2003, no, 2004, I was passing via London, and I met Sridhar Maharaj, who then told me, what nonsense, why are you going to stop it? If Krishna, if you have some ability, then we have many more projects. You can't just stop. Krishna will tell you when to stop. And then he pushed me back to restarting the business. And that's why I came back into business in 2005.
Thank you, Radhagiridhar, for sharing with us. And those who have any questions, you can ask questions. There's one question. Somebody asked this question: when we make a decision to make Krishna partner, should we announce it publicly or internalize it?
So, first thing I would just try to say is to internalize it, but internalize it in a very transparent way. At the very least, So I'll give an example like, this devotee, Parmanand Prabhu, who, has now a very successful billion-dollar business. He has written on a sheet of paper, at least be transparent to your Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru and write it down and offer it to the deities, or he can offer it to the deities. So that level of, transparency should be there, at least with your spiritual master or Siksha Guru. And the what you call, to necessarily share it with others. See, sometimes you think internally, by sharing it with others, will it both inspire other people, then do it as a service. If you are trying to share it with others to boast, then definitely don't try to. So don't let your pride come in. If you're trying to do it so that you can show off or something, then absolutely uh, better not to do it. So let the Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru guide you on that front. And but at least within the company, I found that our behavior should be, at least let people understand the behavior that you do care for others. Because if you're trying to do something as an offering, you should treat each and every employee, even if the person is a receptionist, treat that person with love and respect. And don't try to, I'm trying to say, internally think yourself as the boss. Thank everyone for whatever they are doing. And so to that extent, again, my suggestion is, talk to your Siksha and Diksha Guru, definitely be transparent to them. Like, one devotee, another devotee who, uh, you know, somehow for 3 years was struggling. Then this person in Sadhu Sangha wrote on a sheet of paper. Gaurang Prabhu and me were just talking to him. And then we suggested to him that, look, you're struggling on a business for 3 years to get funding and trying to grow your business. If you write on a sheet of paper and be transparent before your Siksha Guru or Diksha Guru, and offer it to the deities, so then you're not really telling the whole world what you're doing, but you're still being transparent to spiritually advanced devotees. And miraculously, in July, when I spoke to him again, he told me that he has received, I don't expect this to happen for everyone, received funding at 100 million valuation, pre-money value, and what he was struggling for 3 years. So be transparent, especially to your to your Siksha or Diksha Guru.
Thank you for that answer. What we saw in his entire discussion, Radhagiri Prabhu operates from the reference point of faith, commitment to his promises, right? So he spoke this very strong spiritual principle about his growth, and certainly they're all there in the Shastra, and he was able to practice and implement. Before others ask question if they don't have. So I'll also want to ask, just like on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, certainly Krishna was there for the Pandavas. At the same time, they also had the material strategy, right? It was not simply the faith, because many people have faith, but not everybody makes the resources. They have good intention, they have good faith. So what strategy which was guided by Krishna in regards to skill, value system, which you implemented, if you want to share in few words, you can share with this audience. And for the further discussion, we can always have as a offline discussion with people who want to join.
Sure. So, as I said, I believe that for all of us, my suggestion is, first internalize why you're doing what you're doing. Once you internalize it deeply, then surround yourself with people, I mean, who are even better than you. So I was able to, in one sense, grow the company to a certain level, but I found that the other people who worked for me, okay, later on I ended up investing in them. They could grow it even more than me. So basically, surround yourself with people who are better than you, and always, what you call that, the service to Guru Maharaj should be at the forefront. If you are, because a lot of times when people think of themselves as the company, they make mistakes. Here we have to understand that this company is meant to serve Maharaj, and therefore do everything which is right for the business, everything which is right for your service. So to the extent that we are attached to service, we will have to bring in people within the company who can increase your service. And in my own case, I found, hire people who are better than you and make the organization strong. And always just remember that we are not the doers, and if we are succeeding, it is thanks to the blessings of Guru Maharaj and the sadhus. And our success is because they have desire to serve Srila Prabhupada's mission, so they are empowering us. And when we are under their shelter, we will become fearless, start taking all decisions which are right for the business to allow us to serve more.
Yes. Anybody has any other questions? If you can raise your hands, or we will, conclude with last message from Radha Giridhari Prabhu for this podcast. Yes, there is one. Yeah, can you ask question? Somebody has asked this question, Prabhuji, which is the Harvard course you did?
It is called Advanced Leadership Initiative. So it is not the regular Harvard course of AMP or OPM. This course, Harvard realized 20 years back that we are the number one business school. We have taught people to succeed, but success is not complete unless you give back. So don't think of success only in accumulating. Just like they refer to what, there's a book which refers to Vanaprasth, where they say that, look, you're going to, learn for the first 25 years, then earn for the next 25. And then don't forget that you have to start now serving with the same drive and passion that you earned, with the same drive they want you to spend the next, as they call, third chapter in giving back. So this is the program called Advanced Leadership Initiative, or ALI.
So, Naman Kashyap,
Yeah.
you can
Yes.
ask question.
Yeah. Thank you for the opportunity, Prabhuji, and thank you for the sessions. Prabhuji, my question is going to you answered that devotees generally lack ambition, and then you mentioned that if we do not have it in our young age, later we repent it. So that is one point. The other inhibition, Prabhuji, which comes is because this session is like practically from the business perspective. In a job, I mean, like job is safe. We have that monthly salary part is there, and no experience of business. So how to still have that right mindset, maybe in job, or then what is the right time to switch to business, and those kind of questions, Pooja, I have. I mean, like in my mind, that is running, that it is good for me. Will it happen for me? Yeah.
So what I suggest, Prabhu, is that I don't want devotees to give up their job and suddenly jump into business in a reckless way. So, we are sharing with both professionals as well as students or youngsters that, look, you are in a job. Like, we have one devotee who's working in, I think it is Meta, that is Facebook, and they are doing a job. We are telling them that there is a program called Y Combinator, and we've suggested we have a team of people who guide them to present their business plan. Today, you don't have to, invest money into starting a business. So you can just present your plan to YCOM. We try to help you get selected. And if you're selected by YCOM, you are 100% guaranteed funding. So, and then those professionals who, for whatever reasons haven't gotten, we are asking them to guide those devotees who are doing business with this purpose. So we're trying to create an ecosystem of professionals who are in business, but they also have a lot of experience and ideas. If they can't become entrepreneurs, they can guide and help those devotees who are entrepreneurs, but who are entrepreneurs with a service mindset and committed to sharing, you know, part of their ownership with Srila Prabhupada's mission. So that is the network we hope to create.
Okay, thank you. If there's a way to join, then you can kindly suggest.
Sure, that we'll have Baldev reach out to some of you for what we're calling it as Artha Forum. We need to make it more formal, so we'll have you participate and then do events in your cities.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So one more question is there. We are looking at Lakshmi only from the point of view of Dhan and Dhan. What about Raj Lakshmi, money as power, to uphold dharma from the point of view of Varnashrama? Is it that charity only should be given to spiritual cause or to also the cause of Varnashram? That is the question.
So I'm not just defining charity as giving to spiritual cause. Right now there's a big need for people to at least become charitable. So I'm first focusing on that aspect. Then where to give, we would like Govind Prabhu and other sadhus to start guiding these people. I'm limiting my I would say my efforts and time to somehow make, because the world has much less givers. So I'm just trying to tell them, look at giving. Now whether somebody gives to I'm not even suggesting where to give, not just to temples. So we are taking this wisdom to outside people. Just like there is one young 27-year-old entrepreneur whose company is valued at 200 million. He came to Eco Village, met at an Artha Forum event, and is fully committed to giving half and giving back. Now, where the giving back is not my, I would try to say, area of strength to start telling people where to give back. There, I'm requesting other devotees that you please guide these people, whether they give it for strengthening dharma, whether they give it for, even I'm trying to say, research in a university. But at least that giving principle is where I'm able to, my service ends, and then I'm requesting others to guide these people where the giving can be even better.
Thank you. Very brilliant answer. I hope this answer fulfills your question. That the whole talk here, Rajeev ji, Radha Giridharipu, focused on the act of developing the psychology of being charitable. And he mentioned in between in his talks that once you start developing that qualities, then the scope for giving, whether it is pure spirituality or for the cause of dharma or cause for education, there is limitless reason why one can give. But as he mentioned, the people who want to give, their number is unfortunately very less. So therefore the cause can be limitless, but the giver, their number is less. So develop that attitude, that disposition, and that spirit to be charitable so that you can choose the cause. Thank you for that answer, Prabhuji. So we will stop here. Thank you once again for your fantastic presentation. You want to conclude by saying something? We'll conclude with you. Thank you.
No, Prabhu, you please give the concluding statements. You speak from the scriptures, and we would love to hear from you.
That's somebody said, thank you. I just, as Radhagiri mentioned, I wrote this small book on money and Mahabharata. Those who have not read or seen it, they can collect it from Amazon and a temple store also. It is said that wisdom is good with an inheritance, right? So otherwise wisdom remains simply an idea, poetry. But here Radha Giridhari Prabhu and people like him, we are also going to invite Krishna Chandra Prabhu to share his side of the story, the larger side of the story, the charitable story which he has been connected for many years. So, it's a great example by people like Radha Giridhari Prabhu, representing Arjuna, being in the world, but not of the world, earning from the world, helping the world grow for the dharma cause and for cause of Krishna, and specifically for him, helping his Guru Maharaj, Radhanath Swami Maharaj and Srila Prabhupada's mission. Thank you once again. We hope many participants here get inspired to learn, to grow more, and to share with others. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Perfect. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.